I don't know why this thing always starts me on muted for some reason, but good to see everybody. I'm here today to talk to you about sunflowers. So let's talk about the beauty of these plants. And the reason why I want to talk to you about them today is because we are coming up on midsummer, and sunflowers are sometimes considered the flower of midsummer. And there's a lot of myths out there about sunflowers and where they originated, and a lot of really good information about how you can incorporate the magic of this beautiful flower into your midsummer celebrations. So let's get started. So, first of all, the sunflowers are native plants to the United States, or to the Americas, I should say, North and Central America in specific. And so I want to quash some of the rumors that are going on out there. And actually, some historians have interjected sunflowers in some historical myths from the Greeks, which were impossible to happen because sunflowers were not brought to Europe until the 1500s, and they really came up in popularity in the 1800s. So there's a lot of stories and myths, especially in Greek traditions, that talk about sunflowers being present. It must have been a different flower because sunflowers did not exist in Europe at that time, or in the Mediterranean for that reason. They were strictly native to the Central America and North American continent. And so the Spanish were the ones that actually brought sunflowers back to the European continent around in the 1500s or so. And then after that, it started getting really, really popular. And it was really around the 1800s that it really spread. Primarily the Russians really became real big sunflower fans, and it started being planted more and more and more and cultivated more and more and more in Europe. But it is originally a plant of North America, and it was very much used and cultivated by the native tribes in North America at that time. They used sunflowers uh, they use the seeds to eat. They would make medicinal teas with the roots and the leaves of sunflowers. There was a lot of ceremony surrounding sunflowers. They would make flour out of the sunflower seed and incorporate it in their cakes and breads and all kinds of other things. So this idea that sunflower somehow existed in Greek mythology is incorrect. So I wanted to open up with that because I knew there were a couple stories that I read about in Greek mythology that talked about sunflowers, and I was very surprised to find that out. So the nice thing about it is sunflowers are native to the United States. So if you are here in the US right now, or if you're in Central America, it's a great plant for you to begin working with for your summer solstice because it's going to bring you a direct connection with the land that you are actually on. So this is why sunflowers are so important for us if we are in the Americas, to incorporate its power into our summer solstice celebration. So that's number one. Um, Number two, there may be something, there's different types. We're all familiar with the annual sunflower species, but there's really probably around 4,500 different types of species of sunflowers. And most of them are annuals, which means they grow for the year and then they die and then they come back the following year. There are a few perennial varieties. They're really important for the environment. Honeybees will use them to make pollen. They will feed the birds. They are big attractors of butterflies, especially monarch butterflies. So there's a lot that sunflowers bring into the environment that's really important. Um, so, in terms of medicinal purposes, ancient native tribes used to use sunflowers medicinally for a couple of different things. They used to use it to treat chest pains, and it's been actually now, as modern science has been going up and been really proving some of the older herbal lore that we have, especially some of the native lore, we have been finding more and more that they were right in a lot of the things that they did. And sunflowers have actually been used to treat things like malaria, have been used to treat all types of chest and fevers and all kinds of things. And it's really makes perfect sense because you're looking at sunflowers who are very connected with the solar plexus chakra. So this is one of the things that they're very connected to. The Zuni tribe actually used to use it to draw venom from snake and spider bites. And to this day, they're saying that some native tribes still use a poultice of sunflower leaves to extract the venom when that happens. So once again, I'm not telling you to go out there and start using sunflower medicinally, but these are some of the anecdotal things that I found online about how sunflowers are used. So you can make they normally can make a tea from the sunflowers, from the flower petals, or you can make a decoction from the roots, which sometimes it's said to help with like rheumatoid problems and things like that. The interesting thing about sunflowers, and I have some here that I actually made um, last year. If you look at these were dried. And if you look at the very center of the sunflower, all of these sunflowers are actually made from about 2,000 little miniature flowers in the center. So when you look at the sunflower, you think that the sunflower is a whole, and it kind of is, but it is made up of a bunch of little flowers. So it's really, for me, it's a great symbolism for community, for coming together, for kind of having this authenticity to be yourself, like the little flowers, but then to also retain that authenticity as you are part of a whole. So it's definitely great flower for you to use with spell work, for confidence, for empowerment, for all of those things that are also associated with your solar plexus chakra. So that's important. Um, the other things, let's see, I want to make sure. Oh, here's a cool thing about sunflowers. So sunflowers, as they are growing, they will follow the sun. So as they're growing, if the sun moves, it's going to move from east to west. If you get up and you have small young sunflowers, you're going to see that whichever face the sun is facing, that's where they're going to go. Once they become adult and mature, they always face the east, and that's in order for them to be able to attract pollinators. So that's one of the reasons why they do that. But the sun is very, very important to them. If you look at the correspondences for the sunflowers, you're looking at a correspondence of fire and the sun, which makes perfect sense for the type of plant that it is. The other interesting things about sunflowers is they're really tall, 6 to 10 feet long. The largest sunflower actually was recorded at 30 feet long, if you could imagine that. That must have been a giant monster. But they tend to grow really, really tall. Once again, they're reaching for the sun, and they will grow in a lot of really sunny environments, arid environments. They don't need a lot of maintenance, which is why people love to plant them, because they grow, they get big, they look beautiful, and they don't really need you to spend a lot of time with them. The other thing that's really cool about sunflowers is sunflower is a great herb to use for purification. So one thing that you may not know, sunflowers are called hyperaccumulators. And that means that they have a capacity within themselves above normal plants, normal flowers, and other plants to absorb toxins. And so they were planted in such areas such as where the atom bomb was downed in Japan and in Chernobyl. Wherever you have high radiation, they will plant sunflowers. Wherever you have high lead contamination, sunflowers will also be planted, because it's believed that they will help to absorb
Down
those.
in Japan and in Chernobyl.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there, but it's believed that sunflowers will help to absorb the toxins and help to make that environment a little bit better and a little bit cleaner. So you can use sunflowers in all types of purification magic. If you're trying to cleanse something, cleansing energy, cleansing your aura, it's a great flower to add to baths and things like that, if you want to do a nice cleansing bath. So that would be a great way to use it as well. Let's see. So, big imagery for sunflowers in midsummer, which is traditionally when they use it. Hold on one second, because my uh, Alexa is going very loud. Alexa, turn it down one. Sorry about that. It's like my flute music is kind of having a life of its own. And I wanted to share with you these are some of the ones I used in my summer solstice celebration last year. So what I did with these is I had them out all day in the sun in a vase with water to basically capture and collect as much of that summer solstice energy that I could. And at night, they were a part of my altar, my summer solstice altar. And then once that celebration was done the next day, I cut them down and I dehydrated them. I have a dehydrator here, but you can do it in the oven too if you want to. You can also let them dry by themselves. You can put them in the sun to dry. That will also work. One of the reasons I prefer the dehydrator is because it tends to maintain the color really well. And I just put this cloth around it just to kind of help protect the leaves. And then this is something that if you want to collect this energy in the way of sunflowers, you can use this energy all year long for whatever you want to. So I have quite a few, because I bought a big bouquet last year, and I'm a big fan of saving the flowers that you use in your ceremonial altar. I have one here that I ran out of. This one I think dried in the sun. You can see it's a little bit different. I ran out of other stuff to keep it nice and clean, but you can see them, all of the ones that I made last year. And I mean, I do this with roses, with everything, plants that people give me, all of that. I think it's a great way to honor the plant medicine of it, but also a great way to work with the energy of it for later. So, but anyway, so I save these. And then anytime that I'm doing any kind of work during the year that's for self confidence, for authenticity, to really claim my space in the world and in the universe, I can go ahead and use this. You can use it in several ways. You can put it on your altar and just basically draw in the energy from this flower into the work that you're doing. You can, if you want to start peeling the herbs themselves, peeling the leaves and use them for incense. You can use them in tea, or you can actually make concoctions or concoctions, decoctions with the rest of the flower if you want to. You can add them to a bath. I have done that before. I have added sunflowers to a nice purification bath. Or if you're going to do a head wash and all of a sudden you don't have a lot of the great sun energy, especially if it's in the middle of winter and you still want to do it, voila, you've got your sunflowers ready to go. Sunflower magic can also be used for fertility. So if you're trying to get pregnant, if you're trying to start a new project, if you're trying to expand your business, anything that you're trying to do to increase, you can use that. The other fantastic thing about sunflowers is they are a divine masculine plant. So if you are trying to balance the divine masculine within you, then it's a great herb for you to use for that. So you can use it as a meditation piece. Once you collect it and you dry it, you, like I said before, you can make tea out of it, however you want to use it. You can even make a little sachet bag with a little piece of citrine that you've charged for that purpose and add some pieces of sunflower in there to carry along with you for the spell work that you're doing. So that is a great way to do it as well. It does great magic for confidence, also for protection, right? Sunflower is big protection energy. You can use it because it's going to bring that divine masculine energy in with it, right? So it's going to be good divine masculine protection. You can use it for all types of sun magic. So once again, if you need sun energy at a time when you're not sitting here in the middle of a summer solstice, you have that energy stored away in your sunflowers that you can use for later. Confidence. The other thing that is great is for prosperity. Going through a difficult time right now, you're not exactly sure what to do. A great way that you can do a quick spell is use a sunflower like this that you've saved. Write in a piece of paper what it is that you want from it. Put it, attach it to your sunflower, and you can put it in a jar, or you can just put it in a bag or cover it up and leave it in your altar until whatever it is that you're trying to do is created. Or you can even use a few petals of the sunflower in your incense blend for prosperity. That's a great way to do it as well. If you don't have sunflowers, you can obviously use the seeds, but I like the flowers because the flowers actually capture that sun energy, right? They need that sun energy in order for them to open it up, right? So if you're working with sunflower seeds as opposed to sunflowers, the actual flowers themselves, you're working with the seed and the energy of potential and opportunity in the seeds, right? Uh, the chance that something big may manifest for you. When you work with the sunflower that's already open itself, you're really tapping in things that's already manifested. That energy of the sun coming in and bringing its power into something. So that's basically what's stored into your sunflower energy. So there's a lot of different ways for you to use sunflowers. If you'll notice the lives this month that I'm doing, this one and the one in 2 weeks, is going to focus on using tools for working with your summer solstice ceremony. The next one, we're going to talk about sunstone, which is actually very relevant from now until August. And by the way, if you miss out on doing, let's say you're traveling, you can't do a summer solstice ceremony with sunflowers, can you still do that when you get back? Absolutely, you can. So when you come back from your travels, from whatever, you can still do a sun ceremony with sunflowers and still capture a lot of that. You're not going to capture when the sun is at its max, in terms of the solstice itself, but you will capture that energy when you come in to, uh, whenever you're working with the flowers and the sunlight during the summer periods. You're still going to have a lot of sunlight for you to work with. So I'm so happy that you guys were able to join us for today. Let me see. God, I hope that I turned chat on. Last time, I apologize. Somebody asked a question and I didn't see it until the event ended because I got so into what I was talking about and I didn't take a look at it. But anyway, so if you want to join us later on this week, I believe it is tomorrow night. Let me double check. We are going to have a ceremony online at the Wild Academy. Yes, we're going to have the Witches Roundtable tomorrow, and we are going to talk about solar plexus empowerment. So I'm going to be using in the altar that I do tomorrow for the ceremony. I am going to be using some of these sunflowers from last year. And if you choose to incorporate sunflowers into that ceremony for yourself tomorrow night, if you join us, that would be very much appropriate. If not, you don't have to. If you want to join us for that ceremony, check out the Wild Community. There'll be a list of what the ceremony entails. It's basically going to be a meditation. There's going to be a tea ceremony associated with it so that we can really explore our solar plexus chakra, our empowerment, our own authenticity, and then take in all of that positive energy that we've discovered. So thank you all for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all in about 2 weeks once we talk about sunstone. All right. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.